Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. Today, I'm doing my In the News show. We had some good news to talk about from yesterday and today. Today being Tuesday, the 23rd of September, and I'm going to get right into it with Goliath Resources. They actually had news out yesterday and today. So let's go first to the news from yesterday. In that news, they announced that Goliath intersects several high grade gold holes, including 8.45 grams per ton of gold over 7.13 meters, within 5.13 grams per ton of gold over 12 meters. Drilling and maintains a 100% hit rate. Sure bet discovery remains wide open. All right. So I love this map because whenever I talk about Goliath, I think that this map does a fantastic job of really explaining the story. I call this their Golden Mountain. And inside that Golden Mountain, you can see all the drill hole traces. And in the drill hole traces in red, you can see all of the locations where visible gold has been seen in the drill core. During my career of watching projects in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia, which is is a prolific gold mining district, I have not seen this much widespread distribution of visible gold in, well, the last time I saw something similar to this was Brucejack, owned by Pretium, that I picked before they went into production. And due to the big success of mining that high grade deposit, they were ultimately bought out for $19 a share. And I think I started covering them when they were about $3 a share. And so this puts the Sherbet discovery into a very elite category in the Golden Triangle. When I talk about that elite category, I'm talking about things like Pretium's Brucejack mine and the Eskay Creek mine that put the Golden Triangle on the map. And so I keep focusing on this because this, I think, shows the footprint of what will be a future high grade gold mine. They give you some great details here. You can read these statistics on gram meter and these are metal factors that are, quite exceptional. Then they give you some details about the drill holes with the results in it. This one had this 3365 had a 17.2 grams per ton of gold over 3.35 meters in it. Very great stuff. And as you can see here, they highlight some of the locations of the visible gold in the core. More details about where it's located. There's a couple of key regions or zones, if you will, or here is a series of stacked veins that dip in this direction towards the west. And here is another series that dips in the opposite direction towards the east. And what this has always made me think of is that there's two um, sources of where this high grade gold mineralization is coming from, or possibly one big, large magma chamber. And you're seeing it come up from different sides of that magma chamber, sort of like I call it a bathtub. The bottom of the bathtub, under the bottom of the bathtub is the magma chamber, and then up the sides are where you're getting these two distinct dip directions in these stacked veins. Here's zoning in tighter to a area that could be a starter area that they would come in through the side of. And here again, this one really emphasizes here you have a stacked series of veins going in the western direction, and here you've got a stacked series going in the opposite direction, which, stands to reason that there very well could be two separate sources of what's creating all this gold mineralization. Here you see in 360 another example of visible gold, and they give you more pictures of and details of the visible gold, um, and details about the program. There's a good quote in here from Roger Rosmus, who's the founder and CEO of Goliath, and he states, and I quote, evidence that we have made one of the most important grassroots high-grade discoveries in the Golden Triangle since the spectacular Eskay Creek discovery is building with each new drill hole. We often hear the saying in mining, grade is king, when in reality it is truly grade and continuity that is king. I would point to our heat map image showing the widespread VGNE, which stands for visible gold from the naked eye, over an astounding area, over half the area size of Central Park in New York City, and roughly 3 times the Empire State Building tall. Uh, Clearly shows remarkable continuity, which leads to predictability that has been established since very early in our success at the Sherbet discovery. Our geological team has done a wonderful job of targeting the high grade gold zones and finding new ones in each successive drill campaign. The fact that to date we have found visible gold to the naked eye in 3 distinct rock packages is indicative of a multi-phase system that was long-lived and powerful, suggesting a very large magmatic causative source is lurking not far below or laterally to our various high-grade zones is readily apparent. A picture tells a story, and what we can see is a big mountain with widespread visible gold to the naked eye over a large area that remains open and contains high-grade gold over mineable widths. Ultimately, we feel that the Sherbet high-grade gold system is evolving into a significant discovery with the potential to become a future mine one day, end quote. So, I mean, Roger does a very good job there of sort of highlighting how things have progressed over the last few years of drilling. In the last 2 years alone, it's been pretty impressive that such a high percentage. Last year, I think it was something like 94% of the drill holes had visible gold, VGNE as they like to call it, and it's quite another high percentage in the 2025 drilling campaign. And that's what leads you to this image here with all the widespread distribution of high grade gold or visible gold. I think a picture tells a story, and what this tells me is that this is going to be a future exceptional mine, and just needs more drilling. The amazing thing about it is you look at all these various different drill holes, and they very well could still be at the top of an iceberg, and the iceberg still remains lower. I pay attention to these big cracks in the earth, and I think that what's exciting is that not far down here is the valley floor, and in that valley floor, these structures come together, and these cracks in the earth are the conduits that the gold-bearing fluids make their way up using as a path of least resistance. And yes, I think they've got a phenomenal project. And let's have a look at their next news release before I go into the stock chart. So earlier today, they announced that they have completed the 2025 drilling campaign. They were able to do 64,000 meters of drilling. Initially, the plan was to do 60,000 meters of drilling. And the team that's involved did a fantastic job in what is one of the largest helicopter supported drill programs in challenging alpine terrain in North America this year. They set up on the mountain and they drill into the mountain. And although that's challenging from a drilling perspective, what it if it is a mine, what you would do is come in from the side or the valley floor and use gravity to help you mine all of this visible gold. So very impressive stuff. Assays are pending for 88 drill holes drilled in 2025. There's still, as the drilling is just completing, there's still logging drill core and sending samples off to the lab for assaying. They have thousands of samples because there's lots of juicy core there that needs to be assayed. In this news release, they give you details about the campaign, what it was aimed at accomplishing, and it did that in spades. Um, they talk about more details about the project. Here again, they give you an image of that I think is quite impressive. This in the last news release, I showed you the image that has all the visible gold in it. Well, here is what that looks like three-dimensionally plotted into zones. And you'll see that there is a series of stacked zones going in one direction and another series going in the opposite direction, which I keep emphasizing that I think comes off of two separate, possibly two separate gold systems or sources, or it could be one large one, and you're seeing it come up from different sides of the source. However that plays out, it's a nice thing to try to figure out. And then they give a lot more details. Roger Rosmus does a great job of thanking the entire team. And he stated, and I quote, "We're very fortunate and grateful to have Bill Chornoby, along with his extremely talented team, to pull off an amazing task when many said could not be done. Bill is a stalwart individual with significant exploration expertise, and with his planning, we exceeded our 60,000 meter goal this year, surpassing 64,000 meters. Although the drilling portion of the campaign is completed, the work continues as it will take a couple more weeks to finish all the logging of the drill core and then send the remaining samples off to the lab for assaying. The more we drill the Sherbet discovery, the better it gets, as can be seen in the widespread distribution of visible gold that is within three distinct rock packages. To date, we have hit mineralization on 100% of the holes drilled at Sherbet since the initial discovery, which means that we have another season in which we will be sending in thousands of samples for assaying. Once all the logging of the core is completed and the assays are in over the coming months, we will be updating our 3D models of the 12 stacked shallowly dipping veins, vertical RIRG dikes, and our new rock package of altered breccia. Then the work at the Colorado Schools of Mines is to do advanced geological studies, which will get into overdrive as their team has been working on all our drill core throughout the 2025 drilling season. Combined with the assays and other key geological data will inform their work for next season's drilling campaign. We look forward to several months worth of data to further unlock the ever-growing high-grade gold discovery at Sherbet. The list of people on the team that contributed to the success at Sherbet is long, which gives me many to thank for their tireless efforts to unlock the full potential of the Sherbet discovery, which remains wide open and nowhere near the limits of any of the high-grade zones or the source of the system being responsible for all the VG visible gold to the naked eye into three distinct rock packages. We look forward to releasing further assay results as they are received, interpreted, and compiled, end quote. So back-to-back days of great news for Goliath. And let's have a look at their stock chart before I move on to the next company. And there you go. As you can see, the stock has been, well, since they started putting out the early assays, I think they've had about 14 or something, maybe less than 20 holes announced so far. It's had a significant breakout. Yesterday on the assay results news, it was up quite nicely. Today it had some profit taking down 4.99%. And I think that's normal after a run like this. And it was strangely enough on a day when gold and silver did very well, a lot of the stocks were kind of soft today. Ultimately, the company has, as Roger was describing there in his quotes, a lot of news to come out for several months into the future. So they're a catalyst-rich company that's made a phenomenal discovery of high-grade gold. And there you go. That's the Goliath story. The next one up is Kirkland Lake Discoveries Corp. And they announced a $7 million private placement with lead orders of $6 million. They give you the details. It's at a price of 25 cents per unit. Also comes with a half a warrant. The company has secured initial lead orders from new and existing investors, including Eric Sprott, Rob McEwen, and Crescat Capital for $6 million of the $7 million financing. So in three entities there, you've got, six of the $7 million in financing to be done. Just a couple days ago, I did a show and I talked about why I like this project so much. And I just go on my Substack at Rocks and Stocks, rocksandstocks.substack.com, or you can go on my YouTube channel and look for the video that I just put out a couple days ago. You can actually see Kirkland Lake is in the thumbnail. I'm very positive about this. If you have any questions that you need answered about Kirkland Lake discoveries or this private placement, feel free to send me an email at rocksandstocksnews@gmail.com, and if I can't answer your questions, I'll find somebody who can. Oh, by the way, tomorrow morning, I'm doing an interview with their chairman, Denis Laviolette, and their CEO. It will be done at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so probably about 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I should have that interview out. And I'm really looking forward to it. Denny and Stefan are really brilliant guys, and it will be great to talk to them about the project and what they plan on doing with this money that they are about to raise. Okay, so let's look at their stock chart. KLDC is their stock symbol. And really what caused this breakout and this golden cross was the announcement of the details of their drilling campaign on their project, and very good looking drill core with lots of sulfides in it. Tomorrow I'm going to talk more about that, so I won't get into it a lot here, other than to say that, the company has a lot of assay results to come out, and then they'll have a lot more drilling to do in the not too distant future. So I'll be talking to the team about that. But I always get bullish when I see a stock that has a golden cross, and then after the golden cross spends almost all of its time above the 50-day moving average and a very bullish trajectory. I'm currently a shareholder of the company. I'm participating in the private placement, and I will also be buying stock, free trading stock in the not too distant future. I like everything I can see about this company, from their stock chart to their project. And I talked about the project recently, and I'm going to be talking about it again more tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Borealis Mining is a company that's a sponsor of my shows, and I'm a shareholder of. And they announced that they received proceeds of Canadian $9 million from exercises. They had warrants that were in the money, and those were exercised, which brought them in $9 million of funding. Kelly Malcolm is the president, CEO of the company, and he stated, and I quote, "We are very pleased with the support shown from our existing shareholders through the exercise of these warrants, broker warrants, and compensation options. The company is in a very strong financial position, which should provide us with all the required capital to resume full production at the Borealis mine site. I look forward to updating the market with our plans to start adding to the treasury through revenue from the steady production of gold from our fully built and permitted facility." So there you go, folks. They're a junior gold miner in Nevada that's just restarting an old mine that had been in previous production when gold prices were much lower. So it's a great time in that nature. It's a great location in Nevada, one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. And this company has the deposits, the mining infrastructure. They've got an ADR plant operational on the property. They've got all the other mining infrastructure. They've got the permits. They're doing some amended permits so that they can increase the size of the known pits that look like there was a lot of meat left on the bone there. And so this is one of my favorite junior gold miners, and I think they've got a path to be a much larger junior gold miner and ultimately lead towards being a mid-tier. Here they give you some details about the project, and I advise you to read that. It will help you to do your homework on the company. And on that note, let's have a look at their stock chart. And as you can see, it's had a golden cross here in late July, and after a basing period, basically the left side of a cup, the bottom of a cup, and now they've gone above the left side of the cup. And what has helped their gain attention is the planning and movements to get the project back into production. And so today they were up 3.81%, or 4 cents a share, to $1.09 per share. And yeah, Borealis Mining is a really good one for you to do your homework on, and I encourage you to do that. The next company is Aztec Minerals. I have talked about them in the past, but it's been a while, and they had some news out today that really caught my attention. Aztec drills 556 grams per ton of silver and 17.7 grams per ton of gold, which equates to 2,149 grams per ton of silver equivalent over 3.04 meters, within 70 grams per ton of silver and 1.99 grams per ton of gold, or 250 silver equivalent over 28.9 meters, and continues expansion of the contention target and drilling for potential CRD mineralization at the Tombstone project in Arizona. They give you the drill hole highlights. I've already read those off. Intersects from hole 25-7 and 8 show the contention. Gold, silver mineralization continues to extend to the west and to depth. Expansion of the 2025 drilling program to 7,500 meters from 5,000 meters. 19 RC holes have now, reverse circulation holes, have now been drilled with additional results pending. So they tie those highlights into these various different paragraphs. Simon Diakowski is the CEO. He stated, and I quote, "The high-grade silver-gold intersection drilled in 25 TR25-06 demonstrates the continued discovery of high-grade precious metal mineralization that the historic Tombstone Silver District is best known for. This intersection of 2,149.5 grams per ton silver equivalent over 3 meters is situated nearly 200 meters northeast of our highest grade silver intersection drilled last year in TR 24-16. We are encouraged by the continued interceptions of the contention zone of mineralization to the west. We are eagerly awaiting the receipt of additional results and are pleased to announce the expansion of drilling to what is now expected to be our largest ever campaign on the back of strong initial assay results of the first 10 holes of the program," end quote. They give you a rundown here of where the various different holes are with the background of the geophysics, I believe. I can't read their legend very well, but nonetheless, we got some more images down here. And this gives you a cross section, and you can see a long section. This is sort of like slicing the earth in half, and then you like a cake in half, and you look at the side, and you can see the high grade distribution is quite extensive over a very large area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to Simon Diakowski and see if I can get him on for an interview to talk about these results. Simon's pretty good at doing interviews, and I hope I'll work on getting him on, because this is real eye-catching stuff. When you start hitting, it's not just a combination of, it's a combination of very high-grade silver and very high-grade gold in the same vein. You don't need a lot of this to make for a very profitable mine. And it's in a well-known mining area. So a lot of things to check, boxes to check off there. And I'll work on an interview with Simon. Here's their stock performance. They were up 7.84%, or 2 cents a share, to 28 cents. I think this is a real undiscovered gem, trading with a very low market value. And with all the work that they're doing and all the assays that they have pending, I'm really optimistic about this project. And as I said, I'll work to get Simon Diakowski on to do an interview, but really like the reaction to this great news. And with all the stuff that they have pending, I think we should see more of this as they continue to report their results. I got one more company to talk to you about today, which is Argenta Silver. And let me just get things a little organized here. Move this up a little bit so everybody can see it better. All right. So Argenta Silver Corp drills 545 grams per ton of silver over 43.2 meters, including 1,302 grams per ton of gold over eight, or silver over 8 meters in a 70-meter step out drill hole, and defines a new exploration target. Now, just to put this into context, folks, I live in Zacatecas, Mexico. And this is one of the most prolific silver districts in the world. 10% of the silver ever produced worldwide has come from the state of Zacatecas. And we have these same kind of veins. Epithermal veins are what all that silver production comes from. But what I would highlight in bringing that up is that, most of the mines here are 2 to 5 meters wide veins. You got a 43-meter intersection here with very high grades. That's quite exceptional and really caught my attention. They give you the highlights. Then Joaquin Marias, he's the CEO, president, and director of Argenta Silver, commented, and I quote, with silver prices at record highs, our team continues to deliver strong results at El Kivar. A successful 70-meter step-out drill hole down plunge of the existing resource returned 43.2 meters, averaging 545 grams per ton of silver, providing clear motivation to continue drilling along this trend. In parallel, a newly defined target named Antonia, in honor of the goddess of knowledge and strategy, has yielded encouraging intercepts, including 2 meters at 314 grams per ton of silver and multiple additional silver values, positioning it as a compelling new target within the project. We are also awaiting assay results from 6 drill holes, including the exploration targets Andrea and Mani. With the 2025 winter program now complete, our team is actively preparing for the upcoming project, which is expected to commence in October 2025. So they got a couple weeks of downtime. They'll compile all of this data, or sorry, end quote there. They'll compile, this is me speaking, not quoting Joaquin. They'll compile all that data, and then they'll get right back to drilling in the next few weeks. They give you some more details. They talked about at Antonia, I think I'm saying that right, Andrea and Mani. They've been focusing here because this is where the resource is of about 50 million ounces of silver. And the goal there is to try to get that up over to a rule of thumb in silver, which is you want about 100 million ounces of silver in resource, which gives you about 10 years at 10 million ounces of production. That's a ballpark estimate or rule of thumb, if you will. And I think they're going to have no problem getting there in and around the known resource. But then these epithermal veins come in clusters. And I think they've got the potential to find a cluster of epithermal veins. They've already got evidence that there is a cluster there. How many in the cluster remains to be seen. And another thing that I would point out about clusters of epithermal veins is that not all of them come to surface like these over here and this. Sometimes they can be blind, and you find them when you're drilling for another one. So I think they've got the potential of finding blind veins. So as you can see here, this main vein is the one that does come to the surface, and it has a lot of high grade in it. What I find impressive is that as they're going down plunge on this, it actually looks like the high grade is getting thicker. And then they come out with this 43 meters over here of into pure expansion of 545 grams per ton silver. That's really impressive. And you can see not far at 412 also had a really nice runs of high grade in it as well. So here they show you some of the quartz vein, the epithermal vein, and this is a very good sample here of the kind of textures that you see in these what are called multi-phase. You can think of it like a boiling pot of water that gets turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on, and each time the bubbles or the boiling water comes up, and that's what you're seeing here are these textures of multiple boiling events, which is what you want because that brings the metals up. Um, some of this looks like breccia to me still, kind of interesting. I'd like to get their geologist on for an interview. We've kind of been crossing paths and crossing emails, and we haven't been able to arrange anything. But I'll keep on trying because I think this is just a phenomenal high grade silver deposit. There's very few of those that are all silver anywhere in the world, and they've got an exceptional one here in Argentina. Let me pull up their stock chart before I move to the closing the show. Um, they started trading back in October of 2024. They kind of went through the left side of a cup, the bottom of the cup, and have been moving up the right side of the cup ever since. I would point to this important breakout that happened in April, um, which is around the time that they started drilling. And then they've had assay results out since. But I would also point to the fact that it has spent most of the time above the 50-day moving average and is now, and you can see that that 50-day moving average is at a very high trajectory. And today, surprisingly, was such a phenomenal result. The stock was down 7.62% or 8 cents per share to 97 cents a share. Sometimes I wonder if people actually read the news releases or if they read the news release and then quickly go to the stock chart to see if it's good news or not. Well, I do it a little bit differently. I read the whole news release and I look at the whole thing, and I am, you know, tremendously positive about those results. I love high grade, and I love high grade silver. And I know a lot about epithermal vein systems. And I think they've got an exceptional project here that still remains to be somewhat of an undiscovered gem, in my opinion. Alrighty. So that's the news releases for today. I didn't want to get too long of a show, so I'm just going to keep it at. I talk a lot about in past shows, just in the last few days or constantly about why I think gold and silver are going up. I think there's lately they've been sniffing out in stagflation. And I think that, now that the Federal Reserve is throwing inflation under the bus to try to support an imploding jobs market that will be very troublesome for the economy. I think the stagflation that I've been talking about for several months now is starting to be more recognized. And I don't think it'll be long before it's talked about from Wall Street to Main Street. On that note, as always, my shows are for information purposes only. I'm only an idea generator. I use my 32 years of experience in the mining business to find companies for you to do your homework on. And that's what it's all about, folks. I help you with your homework, but it's really your responsibility to do your homework because as I always say, a well-informed investor is a much better investor than emotional ones. Emotional ones tend to spend all their time focusing on the day to day or hour to hour or even minute to minute movement in prices of stocks, and they don't really know their companies very well. And over my career, the most successful investors in the mining business have been those that are well informed, and that's true on for big investors on Wall Street as well. the most successful are the best informed, and I think you should be a well-informed investor when looking at the companies that I talk about, or any company that you're invested in, whether it's in the mining sector or any sector for that matter. On that note, you have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.